going to ignore what you said. Okay, sorry, that one I don't understand.
Terrible person. And she says she's a teacher. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. Selective listening. Let me say, let me eat in peace. No, let me eat. I don't know, whatever.
I heard you say let me eat in peace. And then after that, I don't know what you said. Okay, but I'm not the one recording you, okay? So.
Hi, welcome to today's lesson in eating lao sa pao. Alright, so the first thing is you've got to peel the, what do you call the skin off? Okay. And then you make a hole to make sure the custard didn't fall, okay? So here's the thing. I bit on top to prevent it from coming out. You leak from the bottom. I forgot there was a hole on top. I tilt it sideways and you see all my fingers. Moral of the story is, when you
shove the whole thing in your mouth.
I cannot, it will go everywhere! I've tried it before, it wasn't a pretty sight. It's like imagine you bite into a water balloon. Don't ask me why, I tried that too. It's epic. But everyone else will not appreciate it. Cheerio. Shit, how am I gonna do this? I can't suck it! Hong Kong dim sum, usually 21. 5 out of 5. Can't miss it.
See, you shoved it in your mouth anyway. Hello, it is day 20 and apart from what you just saw, today's Vlogmas video is going to be a more of a talky vlog. It probably will be quite self-indulgent, or shall I say more self-indulgent than technically what this entirety of Vlogmas is. But I feel like it is an important topic, as you could probably surmise from the title of this video. I had surgery 1 year ago. 1 year ago yesterday actually, to get an ovarian cyst removed. I guess what I want to talk about is my sort of story, for lack of a better term, I guess. How I discovered that I had the cyst, the operation itself, and what it was like post-surgery. So, backstory, I guess. I have always felt very bloated. Like, I like to call myself a hot air balloon because I am just constantly full of air. And I had thought that was the main cause of why I tended to look like I was basically 3 months pregnant. Just kind of like my friend Esther, who also had a cyst removed 6 years ago now. Was it 6? Yeah, 6 years ago now. So Esther had always, I think, if I remember correctly, Esther had just kind of always thought she was fat and didn't know she had the cyst, and then I forgot how she discovered the cyst, but she did, and she got it removed. And that was kind of my situation, although because I had known Esther went through that, I did kind of have a tiny sneaking feeling that maybe what if it is not that I am just fat and full of air, and maybe it is a cyst, I don't know. But I didn't really do anything about it. I wasn't actually gonna do anything about it because, to be fair, like Esther, at least I think so, I didn't feel any discomfort, technically. Like, there was no pain, there was no like weird cramping or anything like that. The only sort of discomfort I had was the feeling that sometimes maybe something was pressing on my bladder. And that was the only thing that was actually giving me this sort of suspicion that, oh, maybe I might have a cyst. Apart from that, nothing. So because I was basically on this quest to deflate myself, my facial place also does lymphatic massage therapy, and apparently, I guess, lymphatic massage was supposed to help get rid of wind in the body and stuff like that. So I was like, yes, it will hopefully make me deflate. So I bought a lymphatic massage package, which I did not tell my mother about at the time. And then when I went, the masseuse was like, you have a lump. And I was like, what? It's like, yeah, you have a lump. Do you want to feel the lump? I'm like, okay. So she basically just took my hand and like guided it to around where the cyst was and just pressed it down, and sure enough, I could feel the lump. Which, you know, I never thought anything of. But yeah, so I could feel the lump, and then so after the massage, I came back home and I told my mother, I was like, ha, so mother, I did a thing, but ultimately, the masseuse says that I have a lump, and my mother was half disbelieving that the masseuse could feel the lump, and half hella panicking. So the panicking side won, and she made an appointment with her gynae to bring me to go and, you know, get checked and stuff. So when I went for that first scan, it was October, and sure enough, the ultrasound showed that I had a cyst. At the time, the scan showed that it was, or at least we approximated it to be about 9 centimeters. By the time I had my actual surgery, which was in December, and it got taken out, the biopsy report said that it was 12 centimeters. Now, either we just couldn't tell in the scan initially that it was actually that big, or it somehow, in the span of like a month and a half, grew by 3 centimeters, which is terrifying. So, I mean, I didn't get it immediately removed because, well, work. So we figured, you know, might as well do it in the holidays, and then I wouldn't have to be on MC for so long, except that I kind of did end up being on MC for long enough. So I have had students who only in the perhaps like the last third of this past year found out that the reason why I wasn't around in school for the first 1.5 months this year because of my MC was because I had this surgery. I don't remember what they thought it was, but they thought it was something else. So in case I have some other students who did not know why the heck I was not around, this is why. Going into surgery, I wasn't really afraid, I guess. I don't know, are people afraid of surgery? Maybe. I guess some people are afraid of surgery, especially if it's their first one. This was not my first surgery. I've already had 3 on just this ear, but this was technically the biggest one I've had. But also, I wasn't particularly bothered, I guess, because, like I said, Esther's had a cyst removed. Sonia has had fibroids removed. My mother has had fibroids removed. So I was just like, okay, sure, surgery, let's just remove the thing. It had to be open surgery. It couldn't have been done laparoscopically. Is that the word? The keyhole one? Because it wasn't a normal cyst, I guess. It was what is called a dermoid cyst, which also has like bone tissue and hair tissue, and so it's not just liquid, like, or not just fluid, I guess, like what normal cysts tend to be. So it had to be open surgery to actually bloop the thing out, because I've had a cyst in my throat somewhere here-ish about 5 years ago, and so that one just got stabbed, drained out. In this case, with the ovarian cyst, obviously that was not going to be possible. The doctor had said going in that he would try to save as much of my ovaries as he possibly could, but ultimately my right ovary is now gone. I am 1 ovary lighter. And something I just remembered earlier was that I had initially wanted an ovary plushie for Christmas, and then when everyone was actually asking what I wanted for Christmas, I forgot about it, and now I just remembered. So if anybody actually wants to get me this plushie of an ovary from I Heart Guts, I will greatly accept it. But anyway, so open surgery, it's fine, it's interesting because I have a picture of myself that is cut open, which is a strange sight to see. I also have a picture of the blob, so if any of my students or if anybody who has not seen the picture of the blob wants to see the blob, just text me. I'll send you the picture. But yeah, so I was scheduled for surgery at I think 11 in the morning, and the doctor had originally told my mother that, oh, by the time I'm out, back to the room and all of that, it'll probably be about 4. I was back in the room at about like 2. And I was pushed back to the room and I was kind of awake and the nurses were there and they asked me where my mother was. I was like, oh, she's not here yet. She's not gonna come back for like another 2 hours, and then I passed back out. This time around was interesting. So I've had 3 operations on my ear before, but none of those required me to have the magic morphine button. So this was my first experience with morphine. Well, I don't know. I guess maybe the point of morphine is that you don't feel anything. But it's not to say I didn't feel anything, it's that when I pressed the button, it's not like I felt any less pain after I pressed the button. I just pressed the button anyway. Yeah, so that was an interesting thing. So the first night post-surgery, they gave me compression stockings to wear. I don't remember if they had put them on me while I was in surgery or only after that. I think it was... So I had compression stockings and I had this thing. Okay, this is a pair of things which I have technically connected to each other. It's like a tubular system that gets hooked up to some machine that pumps air in to like inflate and deflate to kind of massage my legs. I'm not actually sure what the purpose of this was for, but it was nice. And I kept these. Not that I can ever use them again, but I am a hoarder. I was in the hospital in the end, I think in total for 5 days. I'm not really sure why I was in the hospital for that long. I can't actually remember. I just remember my mother being increasingly paranoid that I would not be able to get out in time for Christmas Eve, but luckily I did. The entire time I was there, I did not shower. The first day and a half, I was hooked up to a catheter, so I didn't actually need to get up to pee either. But then obviously I ultimately did have to get up to go and pee, because part of what would determine that I get out of the hospital was the fact that I was supposed to be at least walking up and down the hospital room. So, well, if I had to walk, at least I was gonna walk to the toilet. Also, honestly, hospital food, not that bad. Adding on to the morphine story, funny thing, in addition to the morphine, okay, not actually in addition to the morphine, I only had the morphine for like the first night, and I think I was off the morphine from like 8 AM the next day. But I had painkillers in the form of pills to take, and I had 2 different kinds. One of them was fine. The other painkiller, I felt, gave me more pain than it took away any pain. Like, when I ate the thing, I would feel a sudden surge of pain. Once I realized that, the next time the nurse came in to give me my medication, I was like, can I not eat this one? Because I think it's causing me more pain. And she was like, are you sure? Yes. When I got out of the hospital, I think the first thing that I made my mother do was bring me to the hairdresser so that I could get my hair washed, because oh my gosh, my head was disgusting after 5 days. Also because I definitely could not do it by myself at home. I couldn't shower properly for I think a week after I got out. Like, I had to basically just towel bath myself, like sponge bath myself, and so I would not have been able to wash my hair without getting the wound just completely soaked. So I think I ended up having my hair washed at the hairdresser twice, maybe 3 times during that period when I could not properly shower. So post-surgery, I was given 2 months MC, and theoretically I should have spent that time resting on the bed. Okay, technically yes, I should also walk around, but I think I ended up walking around doing things more than I was actually resting. Like, people at work was like, you should be resting. My friends were like, you should be resting. My mother was like, why are you still lying on the bed? Get up. So yeah. But actually, I probably could have been back at work before my whole allotted 2 months of MC was up, because I could walk around fine. But I did have this weird nerve, I guess it was a nerve pain in my left leg. Like, I would just randomly get shooting pains down my left leg. I don't know why. I guess it was a side effect of surgery, although I do not understand. Like, my right ovary got removed, my left leg hurts. Does not compute. But yeah, so because of that, because if I go back to work, I would have been standing most of the time. We figured that, okay, you know what, maybe not such a good idea lah. Stay home first. And also, obviously, I was meant to at least do some exercises to, you know, strengthen. What was I supposed to strengthen? I don't even remember. The doctor said, like, the doctor asked me to do like leg lifting exercises, and I guess to strengthen my core? I still don't know. But yeah, so I was technically meant to exercise during the recovery time, which I did. Obviously was not allowed to pick up heavy objects or do anything so strenuous that would cause the wound to like pull or potentially rip open the wound, because that is a terrifying prospect, because I have technically had a wound open by itself before, which was probably a traumatizing experience for the people around me, but also a story for another time. But yeah, because in this case, so my wound is like 6 inches long. Kinda has to be, because the cyst was like 12 centimeters. So my wound is 6 inches long. I got my stitches removed, I think maybe like 2 weeks after I got out of the hospital. Even now, a year later, it is actually still pretty bumpy. Like, the wound, it's not flat. The doctor did say that there is a procedure that can be done to like smooth it over, but it is entirely cosmetic, as just for aesthetics. So I'm like, no point. What's the point? Who's gonna see this? Nobody. It's still there. It's fine. 1 year on now, sometimes when I do things, I do feel like the wound is getting stretched. Like, if I'm doing like stretches like this, sometimes I do feel like I have to brace it, because I feel like it's getting pulled, it's a bit tight, so fair warning, I guess. And just sometimes it just feels like something is stabbing me there. I don't understand it, but yeah. So yeah, I guess that's my cyst story. So why I wanted to talk about this, well, one, because it's been a year. Good timing. And also, because like, I guess, like, it's good for people to take note, I guess. Because like I said earlier, I would not have known that I had this thing because I didn't feel anything. So, moral of the story, I guess, is pay attention to your body. If you have a sneaking suspicion of something, go get it checked. Because perhaps if left unchecked, my cyst could have grown bigger, and if it had gotten like tangled up in my ovaries or fallopian tubes or whatever bio things that I do not know or remember because I was a terrible biology student, if it had gotten tangled, it could have been potentially very, very dangerous. So the one thing I can say, if you feel like there's something pressing on your bladder, go get it checked. And yeah, that's it. I think it's time for dinner. I'm going to leave you all with some advice from my Uniqlo t-shirt, which says, don't look for love, look for pizza!